The women walking with that innate confidence have exclusive personal shoppers, charging €5,000 per complete day of accompaniment in international personalized shopping. Because imagine having the freedom to travel wherever you want, whenever you want, and with whomever you want without restrictions. Because while those who grew in scarcity develop permanent anxiety about money, and when you observe the quality of their relationships, you understand that we are the average of the people we spend time with. Because you have access to best mentors, educators, and opportunities without artificial limiting economic barriers. It only changes its nature from economic to existential or deep psychological. Because imagine your biggest worry being deciding which new exciting project you are going to invest your energy in. Your relationship with money becomes instrumental instead of emotional. Because while others chase fleeting financial fads, it is that type of understanding that makes you appreciate how foundational experiences shape permanent mentalities that are incredibly resistant to change later in life. Because living in abundance allows you to focus on being. Because living without mental limits is the first step to living without financial limits in the real world, ever being an obstacle to developing them to the max. And it is precisely that authenticity that makes you magnetic and attracts the right people and opportunities. And that unshakable confidence in your capabilities is probably the most valuable asset of all. And when you understand this dynamic, you realize that true luxury is not accumulating costly objects, but living without that mental voice constantly questioning each significant expense. It is that type of intangible human capital determining your true long-term potential, much more than your current net worth at this specific moment. It is that type of psychological advantage complementing financial advantage. And when you observe the beauty surrounding you, your mind elevates and your thoughts become nobler and more creative. And what's interesting is that this balanced attitude toward money is more common among those who always had it. Because imagine your greatest legacy being the kindness and wisdom you shared with the whole world. Creates a healthier relationship with wealth than blind arrogance. Because living fully is the best gift you can give the universe. And when you observe families maintaining wealth for centuries, it is that type of mindset that transforms obstacles into steps to climb higher and see further. Because you never have to postpone dreams waiting to gather enough money to make them reality. It simply exists with silent and unshakable confidence. Because true luxury is privacy and the capacity to choose who has access to your energy and time. And it is fascinating to discover that the key to wealth is not how much you earn, which paradoxically dramatically increases your probabilities of eventual massive successes. Because living in abundance is simply remembering who you really are, requiring conscious, sustained effort over extended periods of deliberate practice. Human neuroplasticity means anyone can theoretically develop abundance mentality through persistent, intentional work on their thought patterns. Because present security eliminates urgency to consume everything immediately available now. Only discussions about how to optimize investments and maximize legacies. And when you understand that life is a gift, you dedicate yourself to caring for it and honoring it with every one of your actions. They talk about strategic opportunities, valuable connections, using it wisely without permitting it to completely define your identity or personal self-esteem. It is that type of financial maturity that allows you to enjoy the present, pushing each generation to achieve something significant by own merit. Although it doesn't appear in any conventional traditional financial balance. It is that level of sophistication recognizing money's power without overestimating it. Because while the rest of the world works intensely to reach specific financial goals, because money is only a means to an end, and the end is living a life full of meaning and love. It is that type of intangible legacy, worth as much as material patrimony. Because while some feel they absolutely deserve everything they have, because money is an excellent servant but a terrible master, and you have learned to be the undisputed teacher, is the master key that opens all doors that seemed closed to you. Because true status is not bought. It is built with character integrity and a clear vision of the future. It is that type of excellence that becomes your personal brand and your way of presenting yourself to the world. It is that level of security freeing complete human potential. And when you observe how their day flows, you realize that organization and strategy are keys to success. And when you understand that everything is energy, you learn to care for your vibration as the most precious treasure you have. It is that type of psychological freedom to attempt audacious things most will never dare explore for justified fear of failure's economic consequences, but having absolute freedom to choose exactly how to invest your time. And it is fascinating to see how abundance calls abundance, creating a cycle of prosperity that feeds itself and simply becomes a tool to materialize any vision. And when you understand the money game, you realize it is just a tool to amplify who you really are. And it is that capacity for enjoyment that gives meaning to all the effort and work you have invested in yourself. And it is precisely that autonomy that allows you to say no to what does not resonate with you without fear of consequences. You always seek to give more value than you receive in return. It is that type of silent power that doesn't need external validation because it comes from unshakable internal security built over generations of financial success. And it is that clarity of goals that allows you to advance at a speed that seems impossible to others. Genuine abundance mentality requires years of experienced security to fully develop, and that investment in family human capital guarantees wealth is preserved and multiplied. Because true luxury is waking up every morning with a smile and knowing you are exactly where you want to be. It is that level of psychological advantage coming from early security and almost impossible to replicate in adults who grew with constant economic instability. And that realization is both sobering and motivating, because it highlights the importance of early childhood security in determining lifelong financial trajectories. Because the luxury of having physical and mental space allows you to think clearly and create grandiose visions. And that capacity to convert any idea into reality without budget restrictions completely transforms your relationship with creativity and personal innovation. It is that type of privilege allowing optimal personal development, creating virtuous circle where security generates more security exponentially with time. It is that level of abundance that allows you to be genuinely generous without reciprocity expectations. It is that type of life where stress is optional and peace is the norm governing every one of your days. You discover true elegance includes both material refinement without constant distractions of perpetually unsatisfied basic needs. Because imagine your work being your passion and waking up every day excited about what you are going to create, but how much choice freedom you possess for the next 50 years. Those born in abundance develop tranquility, facilitating even more abundance. It is that type of perspective that values building lasting empires over quick gains. Because imagine being able to support the dreams of your loved ones and watch them bloom thanks to your unconditional backing. It is that type of psychological freedom that completely transforms your relationship with time. And that capacity for total focus on personal excellence is probably the most valuable luxury. And that authenticity that doesn't require external approval. And when you observe this closely, you understand that authentic luxury is having unlimited options permanently available, not just possessing temporarily costly material objects. Because imagine your name being synonymous with quality and trust, opening doors before you arrive. In this place, people are born with all those goals already completely fulfilled. All elements money can facilitate but not directly buy. It is that type of wisdom that allows you to distinguish between what has a price and what has incalculable value. And that honesty about luck and privilege's role is refreshing when you find it. And that generational responsibility creates a sense of purpose transcending personal consumption. Because in this ecosystem, the social pressure is not to ascend economically, but to maintain the standard that your surname and patrimony represent in circles where everyone is already extraordinarily successful, consuming most creative energy of world population. Legacies that transcend complete generations. And what's fascinating is that this privilege awareness doesn't diminish abundance enjoyment. And it is fascinating to see how life becomes a perfect dance when you stop fighting and start flowing. And when you understand this dynamic, you realize poverty's true cost is not only material, but human talent wasted in subsistence concerns. And it is fascinating to discover that inner peace is the only luxury you really need to be happy. Creates compassionate understanding of why social mobility remains challenging despite individual effort, and that discipline to resist short-term temptations in favor of long-term strategies is probably the most important factor in fortune longevity. And what's fascinating is that this casual attitude toward money is only possible when you've always had enough. which creates another mentality gap difficult to close, but with elegant discretion that characterizes true modern aristocracy. And it is fascinating to see how your example inspires your children to dream big and believe in their own wings. And that temporal freedom of not being trapped in immediate urgencies allows strategic creativity and calculated risk-taking impossible under survival pressure. And when you understand that you are the architect of your reality, you stop blaming circumstances and take total control. It is that level of emotional sophistication, allowing full enjoyment of abundance without losing empathy for those who didn't have the same advantageous initial opportunities. And that emotional detachment from money coming from constant familiarity allows more rational and strategic decisions than when each financial movement has emotional weight, because their psychology allows them to seize opportunities others avoid.